Hey everyone, we're back again. First off, I'm sorry that the last two updates took so long to come out. I got sick and that kind of delayed everything, but it doesn't matter. I took this special elixir and I'm feeling much better, and now we're back to building. Oh boy. I also got a new tripod, I know, very exciting, so I'm going to be using that for the foreseeable future, so hopefully the camera work won't be quite as nauseating as it was before. So as you can see, a lot has changed, a decent amount has changed on the layout, and we will get back to that, but first we're going to look at something very special. So here we are in a completely different area. I thought it might be nicer to show this off on my minifigure workbench, a little less chaotic than my table, or maybe not, I guess we'll just have to see. But anyways, this is my inn/tavern. It's not 100% done, I still have a little bit of tweaking to do. I still have to furnish most of the inside, but it's pretty much done. You get the general idea. So let's have a gander. So this was inspired by the Guarded Inn, you can see with the little bit of red there. I'm sorry for that voice crack. But I thought perhaps that like doing it all in red might be too much, but now that I'm looking at it, maybe it's not enough. I don't know. But hey, it's still in the production phase. So I didn't have too many of the window like lattice inserts, so instead I did it using the snot technique where you have the snot bricks and then you put the little like lattice fences side by side and it kind of makes the window. I think that turned out pretty nice. You can see on the outside this was going to be the chimney, but I kind of had the before the roof didn't have an overhang, but now that it does, it kind of interfered with the chimney, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that just yet. But it's going to have a chimney, because you have to have a chimney for a medieval building. And then you can just see all the stonework and whatever. Oh yeah, this window still needs to be finished. I know that this looks a little bit weird on the outside. I don't know how I'm going to cover that up just yet, but there's a reason for that. We'll get to it. So, we have the iconic blue door, because the original set had the blue door. And then I made this little sign here. And that pretty much does it for the outside. So I think we'll just go from top to bottom. So the top floor, so the bottom floor is the tavern, and the top floor is the inn. So we can go ahead and take off the roof. I'll show you the back side, you can see how it was kind of put together. I still have to add like little finishes on the corners here, but it just kind of rests on, which is not the most stable, but that's just how it ended up working out. So we can take off this one as well, set that to the side. And then obviously this floor has yet to be furnished, excuse me. But you can see on the side here, these two will be the rooms, and then we just have the hallway in the middle. The doors do open. And then you can see that here is the stairway that leads to the bottom floor. It's kind of tight quarters, truthfully, it's not very safe. You're definitely going to bump your head on the way up. But that's about as tight as it could go. But we do have the railing, very important. Safety first. So this was actually my first time building a medieval building in like forever. So I think I kind of captured the Tudor style decently well. Again, I might most likely do another pass at this, but so far so good, I think. So we can go ahead and take this off, it's just on jumper plates, and then you can also see, make sure you can see that, there's a chandelier hanging from the bottom of the top floor. It's not attached super well, I'm sure there's a better way to attach it, but again, we'll figure that out later, but you can just see all the little candles and whatever on there. So I will set this aside as well. So bottom floor is the tavern. You can see all kinds of stuff going on in here. I think the staircase actually moved a little bit. So this is the staircase that goes up to the top floor. Again, not very safe. No banister. I might add that later, but I just couldn't really find the right technique for it just yet. But there are a lot of things on the walls in the tavern here. You can see there's a map on the by the stairway there. There's some stuff on the walls here, spinning around, more stuff. And then Also, this is why that portion of the wall looks weird on the outside, is I put those two circular shields kind of inset in the wall, because I didn't like how much they stuck out. But there's that. And then above the bar you probably saw this red, actually it's a red cow skull. It was from some really obscure Ninjago minifigure, but I like to think of it as like a dragon skull, or like a sculpture, or whatever. Just, I like how it matches the top floor. So, you can see, I'm definitely going to add a lot of tables and chairs in here. You can see the couple of bar stools by the bar. And then that leads us into our back room here. So this functions as like the kitchen, the storeroom, blah blah blah. You have some kegs back here. And then right next to the fire stove, which I don't know if you can see that. Not really well. And then there's the big alcohol rack with lots of alcohol and or non-alcoholic beverages, depending on how family friendly you want to be. And then I'll just put some more like food and whatever back here. So this is my inn/tavern for the time being. I know there wasn't a whole lot to look at on the inside. I'm working on that. Again, I still have a little bit to do with this. I might change it completely or not. We'll have to see. But so far, this is my first building for the village. Hooray! So also, while we're here, I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention this in the last video, but here we have this cool little dragon build. I did not make this. I will link the instruction video in the description. But so this dragon is pretty cool. It uses pieces from 2 copies of the Creator Medieval Castle set to make just like a bigger, more detailed dragon, and it's pretty cool. I like this a lot. I don't know if I'm gonna keep him or if I'm gonna build my own dragon, but this is about like the right size of dragon for my display, I think. And I like him. He's a cute little guy. So the wings are articulated, which is quite cool. The legs are articulated as well. Of course, the head and the neck and the tail and so on. So lots of articulation, really great. I did make one small modification. I just put the 1x1 round plates with the hole in them on the edge of like the wing claws, just because it was a little bit more stable, and I just like the way that it looked. But again, I will link that in the description so that way you can check it out, because it's a very cool tutorial. And so now we return to the big boy table. So we're back at the big boy table, and now it's time to talk about some big boy updates. So you can see we have the tavern sitting there, very nice. You know, it almost feels a little bit too big for the space now, but you know what, that's okay. It's gonna be fine. So it's gonna go about in this general area, I think, although that might change. I don't want it to like drown out the castle, so to speak. But speaking of the castle, where the box is right now, and I've kind of marked it with these little gray bricks, but you can see that's where the castle is kind of supposed to go. I'm thinking about it being like no larger than a 32 by 32 base plate, if I can help it. So we'll have like the one wall here, the one wall here, and then we'll have the main gatehouse along the river here, just kind of like how you saw in the video before the last video. But you can also see now that we have the river, the beginnings of the river. What I've done is I kind of used a similar technique to what we saw on Ninjago City buildings, where like you have the gradient of the shore, like the more shallow edges, and then the deeper part of the river, and I ended up using gray because those are like the largest concentration of wedge plates and so on that I have. And also it actually kind of shows up nicely underneath the blue. It almost like suspends disbelief, like it could be, oh, could it be tan, could it be brown, you know, you get the idea. But I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. And so you can see it's going to continue to flow through here into like the larger channel, and then it's going to butt up against the mountain here as well, which I'm actually thinking about kind of scaling back a little bit, but we'll worry about that later. You can also see I've started putting the plates down for the grass. I think that I'm going to hold off on doing most of that until I have at least the footprints of the village buildings kind of laid out, because what I want to do is inset most of them by a plate, so that way you don't see like the different colored ground. And so I'm gonna kind of like mark out the plots for those to A, make it look nicer, and B, so that way I can save some green plates, because I'm kind of already running out. But again, we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. So far things are progressing nicely. I did kind of want to have a little bit more done, but it's just how it's fine, right? It's a chill project, don't even worry about it. So things are going well. I'm happy with how things are turning out. And actually, another great thing is it's actually modular. Oh my god, I didn't screw the pooch on that one. So these can, actually that's a bad idea, I'm not going to do that. But each plate is modular, so if I need to transport it or whatever, it can actually come apart. So that's a wonderful thing. So now this has been a very cheery update so far, but I have some unfortunate news. You might have already seen over in this area, but we have something kind of serious to talk about. So let's go on and head over to that. I want to thank you all for joining me here today. I know this must be difficult for all of you. I know it's been difficult for me, but it's time to say goodbye to our dearly beloved brown Lego horse. Oh dear brown Lego horse, I know your time on this earth was not long, but it was impactful. You've changed so many lives. You've brought joy, you've brought tears, but most importantly, you brought laughter and creativity into people's hearts. And so for that, we're gathered here today to say a proper goodbye. And now, we commit you to the earth, so that way you might run free in another life. Let us all say a few silent words to ourselves as we bury our poor little horse here. There we go. And now he shall finally know peace. I want to thank you all for coming out today and supporting me and my horse. I'm sorry to end this video on such a low note, but sometimes we just have to get a little bit serious, Real life, it hits, and it hits hard. So once again, thank you. And I will see you in the next update. Goodbye!